All right, now shifting gears to give you an example of how the establishment has turned food into something entirely different. I want to show you, just so you know the history of this, what's in fast food, what's in the non-chicken half of the McNugget. Huffington Post. Here's a London Guardian. 10 gross ingredients you didn't know were in your food. Chicken McNuggets from McDonald's have a breakdown of silicone, or flat-out silicone, silly putty, and breast implant filler in it. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot make this up. Well, Mike Adams of the Health Ranger Report, of course, at naturalnews.com, right here in Central Texas with us, he always is hiring outside labs to do tests. Well, they've now set up their own labs, and they've brought in their own people. And he's got a factory outside town, puts out his great products and everything. And we've got a video up on Infowars.com that shows what's in it. And folks, this makes the pink slime look nutritious. And he joins us now to give us the first big interview breaking this down. Mike Adams, you described this in your text to me this morning as Morgellons-like materials. What is going on, sir?
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we just launched the Natural News Forensic Food Laboratory, and this is our first research project. You may have noticed I haven't been covering politics as much lately because I've been in the lab, and we are taking a really close look at foods. We started with Chicken McNuggets, and we have a really high-end, it's like a $100,000 microscope that we have access to now as part of this lab. It's a 3D modeling digital microscope, and we're able to look very closely at Chicken McNuggets. And if you do that, you find some shocking things. We found mysterious fibers that resemble Morgellons, or resemble some kind of hairs, or resemble even algae, or one thing looks like an egg-shaped structure with a tail. I don't know exactly what these are. That someone else who's maybe an expert in this realm would be
They may be proteins forming ring structures because they've reconstituted them.
I'm telling you, but the thing is, Alex, I did not find anything that to me looked like chicken. So it's a Chicken McNugget, and you would expect to find things that look like chicken meat fibers or strands of meat tissue. I personally, after hours and hours of looking at multiple Chicken McNuggets, I did not find anything that looked like chicken. I found weird alien shapes. I found like transparent, it looks like silicone to me. I found gel-like structures. I found, these weird fibers and things that look like hair of some kind. It freaked me out. I literally almost puked on the microscope. It was that bizarre. And Alex, we're just getting started. I also bought a Big Mac. I'm going to look at the beef patty under the microscope. I'm not going to give out the names of where I'm going, but I'm going to other fast food chains, and we're going to put these foods under the microscope and report forensically, scientifically, exactly what we're finding there.
And by the way, I'm showing folks the London Guardian here from several years ago, pointing out that it has silicone in it from silly putty and breast implants. Now, by the way, just a little bit of that leaking into women, everyone knows, caused lupus and autoimmune disorders and even deaths in some of the confirmed cases. But it's okay for you to eat it. And just as a layman, Mike, I've done research. I know you've gone to all the medical experts. But doesn't silicone actually clog up the kidneys and attack the intestines and everything else? I mean, I don't mean to be an extremist, but we probably shouldn't be eating silicone, especially fried silicone. Or is that extreme to say?
Well, it's a compound form of silicone. It's not the same thing exactly that's used in breast implants. It's a variation of it. But I agree with you. These elements, these compounds, are not food, okay? They don't belong in the human body, and across the board, I'm not talking about just Chicken McNuggets, but across the board, when you have all of these additives in foods that are not foods themselves, you begin to see patterns of kidney function problems, you begin to see digestive problems, you begin to see Crohn's disease, which is inflammation of the digestive tract. All kinds of disorders come out of this, and I got to tell you, this is my new focus, Alex, is to run this forensic food laboratory throughout the year. I'm going to be bringing you, as time allows, if you're interested in them, some really amazing reports of what we're finding, not just with microscopy, but also some other tests. I'm not going to give out what we're doing yet, but it is stuff that's going to shock the world. I think today the FDA needs to take a look at this. You know, the FDA jumps on raw milk because of what's supposed to be, what's in raw milk.
They take people's children and try to take their children if they feed them goat's milk. I think the entire family should be executed.
Exactly. And then they say, well, this is okay to have these weird fibers and hairs in Chicken McNuggets because it's all dead food, so therefore it's not harmful. Look, I'm not saying these structures are harmful, but we need to investigate. And people have brought to my attention today the topic that you have covered a lot, Morgellons, this mysterious disease that the CDC says doesn't even exist, and yet people keep finding all this evidence of weird fibers.
Well, they do have medical doctors that say it is real, yeah.
Yes, yes. But the establishment says, you know, they're not acknowledging it yet. Well, we found things in these Chicken McNuggets that resemble Morgellons. I'm not saying it is Morgellons. We can't say that yet, but it resembles them, and that alone is pretty frightening to me.
Well, let me expand on this, because according to the medical reports that even CNN's done, this dimethylpolysiloxane, how do you say the...
Silazane.
Silazane. So how do you pronounce it correctly? The stuff that's in silicone that they fry in not just McDonald's. Let's not single them out. I was reading that this is used in hundreds of not just fast foods, but products that have a quote any type of breading for the fluffing in the frying process.
It's an anti-foaming agent is what it's used for. And you find throughout the food supply, some of the research that we're doing, for example, you'll find polypropylene glycol, very commonly used in like fake blueberries, used in blueberry muffins and breads. And polypropylene glycol is an antifreeze that's used to winterize RVs. And it's listed right on the
I saw that even mainstream news. Well, what's wrong with that? I mean, shouldn't we give our dogs and cats little bowls of it?
Well, I think the big picture of all this, Alex, why are the globalists able to pull off what they're doing right now in Egypt and with America trying to destroy the real constitutional roots of our nation? It's because they can dumb people down through the food supply. They can poison you with the food. It's not just the chemicals, it's also the heavy metals. We know that lead and cadmium and so on in large quantities. I'm not talking about just trace amounts like parts per billion. I'm talking about big amounts.
Yeah, I was reading in Washington Post that 40+% of all sugared processed foods have high levels of lead in them. Why is that? Where is all this coming from?
A lot of it, well, there's two main sources. One, the chemtrails are actually distributing metals, mostly aluminum, as you know, that then falls on the agricultural land, gets incorporated into the soil, and then taken up into the plant. But the other thing is that all across the country, they're using human biosolids, in other words, actual human waste products as a fertilizer, and putting that on the croplands. The human waste products, I mean, it's basically sewage sludge that's turned into, you know, soil.
That has bioaccumulated all the big pharma drugs, everything.
Yes, the metals are accumulated there. You can get a lot of metals from eating, let's say, shrimp from China, for example, loaded with, well, some of it is loaded with mercury.
And then even if you don't eat a lot of bad stuff, it doesn't matter. The plants you're eating are having that most of the big sewage places are producing. They're having the human excrement put on it, so you're getting a nice allotment of the estrogen mimickers, the Prozacs, the serotonin reuptake inhibitors.
Yep.
This is just wonderful.
And the antibiotics, and also trace amounts of mind-altering psychiatric drugs, which are based on fluoride.
How loving.
You see, the puzzle starts to come together. They're using food as a vector of a mind control weapon of sorts. And it's very effective at keeping people dumbed down to the point where they will buy any other agenda out there.
Absolutely. Look at this article out of Live Science. It's also out of Haaretz. It's also from the Israeli government on George Washington blog. Links right through to it. Israel's Supreme Court has outlawed water fluoridation, saying it is reduces IQ and gives you cancer. Sounds like they're pretty extremist there. They've said, quote, Israel's Supreme Court has ruled that water fluoridation in the country must end next year. According to news reports, the landmark decision goes even further than legislation by the health minister, Yield German. Good for them. Wish we had him as a health minister. Earlier in the year that would have ended mandatory fluoridation nationwide, reports the Irish publication, Hot Press. And then in Washington's blog, it links through to the Israeli government doing that. So, wow, I wonder what's happening. Also, They're ending the practice in Portland, Oregon. They're ending it in most of New Zealand, many cities like Calgary in Canada. Tampa ended it, but then they reversed the law. Boy, I tell you, there are a lot of crazy people that read the Harvard study that it brain damages us.
Well, the big news on fluoride, which is going to come out in more detail, and in fact, your team did an excellent video report on this, I think, last year in Austin, an undercover hidden camera report. Remember that? The big story on fluoride is that the fluoride powder that is bought to dump into the water supply is absolutely loaded with heavy metals. And
oh, yeah, that's from China mainly. Yes. They admit it. It's hundreds of things, yeah.
Yes, chemical compounds, industrial waste, heavy metals. If the truth gets out on what's in fluoride, it's going to be the largest public health scandal in human history. It is an extremely toxic substance, toxic not only to neurology but also to the kidneys. And Alex, if you damage your kidneys, you can't process vitamin D, meaning you can be in the sun and you can take vitamin D supplements, but you can't turn it into blood-soluble, blood-circulating vitamin D.
How extreme. You know, how dare you? Because, I mean, we've got news reports where they admit up to 350 chemicals in the Chinese fluoride. That's the majority of fluoride here. It's all their toxic waste: lead, mercury, arsenic, cobalt, uranium, plutonium, strontium. What is wrong with that?
China is using the United States water municipalities as its toxic waste disposal system.
Well, but that's good. It's good to have your child die, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, I guess, but it's certainly effective at keeping people dumbed down.
Well,
and
thank God Homeland Security is keeping us safe from Al-Qaeda right now.
Right, but they'll let China ship in toxic metals to be put right into the mouths of babies. It's absolutely incredible. The crimes against humanity that are taking place through food and water and medicine right now are just absolutely astonishing. But we are going to be working on this now with a whole new level of laboratory equipment and training that I've gone through to be a certified lab technician on a lot of different pieces of equipment. We're gonna blow the lid on this stuff, Alex, and that's my new focus. So I appreciate you.
Sure, I know you've been hiring a lot of firms to do that in the past, but now you're doing it. Very exciting. Mike Adams, naturalnews.com. But you know, none of it matters. MSNBC says that this is a hate-filled show connected to the Boston bombing, and that I'm deeply racist, Mike.
I could not believe that. I actually started writing an article in your defense to say publicly, I've been around you in person. I've never seen you act in any kind of racist way. In fact, you've always gone out of your way to protect African-American babies against the abortion Holocaust. You've gone out of your way to talk about vitamin D needed among people with dark skin because of how they can't generate it from sunlight as much. You've gone out of your way, actually, to help free all Americans. For them to call you racist or anything, it just discredits them.
Well, then they didn't show where I was racist either.
No,
it's like... No. It's so over the top. I don't know whether to sue him or...
You should sue him. I would sue him.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Thank you, Mike. Good to talk to you, the Health Ranger. Big news on the McNuggets. Thank you, sir.
Hi, this is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, with some news about some new additions to the InfoWars store. You know, good health is freedom. When you're healthy, you're not a slave to the medical system. Everything works well, your brain, your body, even your spirit. You're a healthier person. And to help support that great health, Alex has asked me to source the cleanest, most potent superfoods and other similar products in the world and bring them to the InfoWars store. So we've done that. The brand name is Health Ranger Select, and we're starting out right now with these three products. We've got Himalayan salt from Pakistan, formed hundreds of thousands of years ago in an ancient seabed long before modern pollution destroyed much of the oceans. This is loaded with trace minerals, and it's pristine, true, full-spectrum sea salt. We've also got Natural Attitude Turmeric. It's an extract of turmeric, very potent, tastes great, alcohol-free. This is from organic turmeric out of India. And we've also got Clean Chlorella. And we sourced and did research on all the chlorella sources around the world, and we found the two cleanest sources that have the lowest levels of any kind of contaminants. In fact, this one is virtually free of all metals and all contaminants. It's called Clean Chlorella, and it's about 2/3 protein, and it's got chlorophyll and chlorella growth factor in it. Check it out online. It's an amazing superfood that athletes are using and people are using to help support healthy lifestyles. It's fantastic. This is all packaged in our certified organic facility here in Central Texas. There we follow USDA certified standards, and we're audited every year by the USDA certifier to make sure that we comply with all organic standards. That, combined with the fact that we only source super clean superfoods and raw materials from around the world, means that our products represent the cleanest and most potent products that you'll find across the natural products industry. Check all of these out under the Health Ranger Select brand name at the InfoWars store, InfoWarsStore.com. And we'll be bringing you more of these in the near future. Thanks and take care.